Okay, what's up, everybody? This is DreChilly. I'm back. Can everybody hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Last go round, I had people to say that they wasn't able to hear me at all. That's why nobody had joined the chat room and nobody had asked questions because they didn't believe that I was actually there. Can everybody hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Type it in the chat room. That way I'll be able to see whether or not you guys can hear me. And they trying to censor the actual stream because I went back and I clicked the playback on the on my phone, and on my phone I wasn't able to hear anything. So are you guys able to hear me now? Okay, cool. You guys are already able to hear me. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get right back into it. Let's get into some questions. Go ahead and ask some questions. Geopolis, you got at me on Hangouts and you said that you had some questions. So go ahead and ask me your question. What's up, Ada? How you doing? What's up? You can't handle the truth. Thanks everybody for checking in and tuning in tonight, by the way, as well. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. How's everybody's Friday going, by the way? No, you didn't, Maurice. You didn't miss it, man. I when I first started streaming, it was like I was wondering why wasn't nobody saying nothing in the actual chat room, and apparently when I went back and I went to go play the live stream that was actually uploaded to my actual channel, I played it and wasn't nothing like none of my actual recording or voiceover was actually on the playback. So I figured that they had went ahead and censored the shit, but you didn't miss nothing. What are the steps we looking to start freeing ourselves from the IRS system? Well, you got to remember that the IRS is just handling the bookkeeping for what's called what people know as this. It's called the straw man, but I call it what it is. It's a trust. It's a Sestakeve trust, and they're just handling the bookkeeping. So you got to remember, right? If there isn't any money and you can't actually pay these so-called alleged debts, you're still liable for the taxes. Why are you liable for the taxes? Because you use the name of the decedent. Now, who is the decedent? The decedent is your name in all capital letters. It's a dead estate because the United States is bankrupt. And so since the United States is bankrupt, they're operating under trust law, trust and slash quasi estate law. So this is why whenever you look into the IRS manual, the 6209, it always refers to everything associated with a 1099, OID, 1096s, all of these forms, a W-2, a W-3, a W-4, all of these forms are associated with a Sestakeve trust because it's a dead entity. So you hold that you because you use that estate, you are liable for the taxes. Now, if the IRS sends you a bill, there is a remedy for that. The IRS just wants to basically know whether or not you know how to turn the receivable into a payable and then send them the payable back. Now, there are some other forms that needs to be filled out once you go ahead and send that back to the IRS. However, uh, if you saying like can one free themselves from the IRS grips, you got to remember it's the minimum means of contact. So you unless you basically gonna go all the way into the private side of it, there's no way to protest taxes because you use securities called Federal Reserve notes. And the fact that you use securities called Federal Reserve notes, you have the obligation to report them back to the IRS because the IRS is doing the accounting and the bookkeeping for that trust that you use. Um, can't handle the truth. Mine is going pretty well. Like I said, I've started about an hour late, so I'll rock out with everybody as long as people keep the questions coming because um, of the technical difficulties that I was having earlier with the live stream. But yeah, you know what I mean? If anybody got any more questions, drop it. As far as Geopolis, your question, uh, I'm not a tax protester because once you actually have an understanding of as to the fact that you are just a pencil man for that name, and it's not really you that they're coming after. They're holding you as the surety because you use that name, but it's not really you that they're coming after. They're coming after the estate taxes that are owed, because the books need to be balanced. And the fact that your books are not balanced as far as in their accounting ledgers, only you can balance the books because it's your credit that the IRS as well as all these other people are using, and they're not reporting it. So the fact that you have all of these security interests, you have all of these negotiable instruments floating around, and all of these so-called debt obligations, collateralized debt obligations, the fact that you haven't reported them correctly to the IRS can't bill these people who have tapped into the Social Security exemption trust and received those monies, or what you can call it money, and they haven't paid the tax obligations associated, and they're not going to pay it because they're going to stick you with the tax bill and make you liable for it. So that's what they're doing. Uh, so basically, to answer your question, that's my opinion on it, and I can help you with that on the private. I really don't want to go over the tax forms and things of that nature publicly because, that's a lot of, they already censored the first original live stream that I was trying to do. Like I said, when I went back, it was basically I didn't hear any voiceover, at least my voiceover on the actual live stream. So I hope that I answered your question to the full, ability to where you are able to comprehend and understand what I'm saying. Just keep in mind that it's not you that they're coming after. They're coming after you, but they're not coming after you, if that makes any sense. Well, it don't make any sense. So let me break that down a little bit further for you. Okay, on the public side, you're dealing nothing but debt because there is no more money, i.e., gold and silver. So it's only taxable debt instruments that they use and they exchange. And when you don't pay the so-called taxes on those instruments, because remember in the public everything is broke, it's bankrupt. So they have to come after you and hold you as the surety because you haven't fulfilled your obligations as it relates to you being in a partnership with the corporate United States. Um, yeah, you can't handle the truth. A lot of things need to be discussed in the private. Yeah, because I say that because how can I put it? A lot of people take the information and they try to twist it and they'll put their spin on it and then they try to go back and repackage something and sell it. And I feel as if it's a cool platform to bring certain things out publicly. Like if you go and you look at the video that I had did on the 3949A as well as the Form 56. Now those are public documents that one can use, um, that I didn't feel as if, would be detrimental to anybody. However, to kind of address your comment though, when you're going over a lot of these tax forms, that's kind of how can I put it? It's kind of like it brings like a target to a lot of people that don't know how to fill out the forms correctly and might just fill out the forms and they not reading everything thoroughly, or they don't know why they can actually fill out these forms and things of that nature. So um, that's kind of why I, don't put a lot of the tax publication. I'll cite the tax publications and things of that nature that everybody can read, but as it relates to me actually filling out the forms and showing how to correctly fill out the forms, I'll do that in a private stream. But yeah, nonetheless, I appreciate you agreeing with me. You don't gotta agree with me, but you can agree to agree and agree to disagree as well. Paula said, my goal is to educate myself in community after I get a grip. Exactly. Don't, you want to be proactive. Don't be reactive to every situation, right? What I would do in your situation, right, is, and you could go ahead and write down these publications. Um, I would file the extension with the IRS, for whatever it is that they're claiming that you owe, ask for an extension, as well as you want to go ahead and read publication 1212, and you want to read publication 550 of the IRS. And the reason why you want to read those publications, because both of those publications will tell you how to correctly go about charging back the account the taxes that are owed. The IRS has send the IRS a W-9. Make the IRS pay taxes. A lot of people don't even know you can make the IRS pay taxes. When the last time you guys ever heard anybody doing that? I sent the IRS a W-9, and I got the IRS EIN number in Arizona, for the district for Southern Arizona. I got the W-9, and they sent it back to me as well. And I made them pay taxes on a lot of shit. I had a court case back in 2012, and I made the actual county court as well as the IRS both pay taxes, and they tried to get out of it. Yep. Only from your video prior. Which one are you referring to, Geopolis, when you say from my video prior? Are you talking about the live stream, or are you talking about the Forum 56? Or I got some more stuff that's coming as well. I got a host of actually unreleased interviews and stuff like that. Then I like I said on the previous one where I covered Senator Wayne Stump, who put out the letter as it relates to traveling and stuff like that. I still got about two more public officials that it's cleanup time a little bit. So as soon as, what I'm saying, I sweep them for out of office for the shit that they've been doing, then I'll go public with a lot of that. But, a lot of that stuff, sending the IRS that form. Which form? Oh, the W-9? Yeah, you send it to okay, so what they're doing is, right, they coming after you for a 1040 tax, but a 1040 tax covers what's called a class 2 tax. So they coming after you for a class 2 tax, but as I stated in the previous live stream that I did last week, I still have yet to see anybody or come forth with a publication. The IRS produce a publication that explains in detail what a class 2 tax is, because I don't honestly, well, I know a class 2 tax is a charitable tax that you are donating to the Queen of England. We get that, but what they're coming after is a class 5 gift and estate tax. Remember, because you use that all capital letter name. So you've been reporting most of your income and on like everybody else as on a 1040 EZ, 1041 and things of that nature, and that's an individual tax. But it's a charitable contribution that you are making to their charitable trust, because the Queen of England, they have a charitable trust. But that publication is, I've heard some people say it exists, but I'll never be able to, get a look at it, or the general public will never be able to get a look at it. But nonetheless, I still have yet to find any publication that covers a class 2 tax. But if you're talking about the W-9, you just go ahead, and when you look at the 1040 publication instructions, you will see where you need to send it, the address for the IRS, which covers your state. They got the accounting ledgers is broken up into about, each block has about 8 or 9 different states. Exactly, Maurice. You're making them pay. You're making them pay the taxes because it's your credit that they've used. Yeah, Public Law 73-10, Stat 48, Chapter 48, which covers the bankruptcy, and you're making them pay. Also, you bring up the fact you raised Title 12, subsection 411, and the fact that Federal Reserve notes are securities and they have to be reported. Whether you paying them to the IRS, whether you paying them to a court for a traffic ticket, whether you paying them to anybody, whoever you paying using Federal Reserve notes, you have to report them back to the IRS as security obligations of the United States. And the registered vessel that is considered a part of the United States is your name in all capital letters. It's a registered vessel. So yeah, you want to go ahead and make them pay. Somebody ask more questions. I got 9 viewers, and I appreciate all 9 of you guys being with me tonight. But go ahead and ask some more questions. Can everybody still hear me? Okay. Am I? Is everybody still able to hear me? Somebody type whether or not you guys are able to hear me. You know. Can everybody still hear me? Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure you guys are able to still hear me. Things of that nature. Okay, go ahead and ask some questions. Keep it going. Keep it going. Let's go ahead and keep the ball rolling. Oh, not a problem. Like I said, I prefer to do it this way, that way everybody, because a lot of people will hit me in a private, and like I said, I don't mind, but I would prefer everybody to ask their questions now, because when you ask your questions now, you might have a similar question that somebody else might, wanted to ask. And, I would just rather that we do it all right there. Now, Marie said, I didn't do my taxes yet. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Where should I have my tax guy look into to get me more money for my tax return? You want to have them look at, what publication is that? I said publication 550, as well as the form 706 and form 709. And the reason why you want to look at those publications is because well, first of all, write this down, Mo, as well. You want him to look at the IRS decoding manual, the 6209 manual. And you want him to, in particular, address the fact that a W-4, a W-2, as well as a W-3 are all showing up as Class 5 gift and estate taxes. And one second, let me make sure. I want to make sure that I get you the right publication. So before I go naming it off, one second, run on, hang tight, 1 second. Different estate taxes. It's been a minute since I looked at a lot of it, but yeah, it's 21.7.5 estate and gift tax returns. So you want to download those returns or those forms, those publications, look them over, and you want to address that with whoever it is that's doing your taxes. Okay, so anybody got any more questions? Let's keep the questions rolling. Okay, it was a class 5 gift and estate taxes, and the publication is 21.7.5 estate and gift tax returns. It's two forms, but you have to set up a trust first. You can use those forms still, but you have to set up a trust. 21.7.5 estate and gift tax returns. Internal Revenue Service. Well, they get away with calling you a federal employee because you're not rebutting the presumption that they're making. That's why. But when you like, what about trust? Have they put your vehicle? Have you? Of course. That's the first thing that I did when I created a domestic trust. I got a living trust, domestic trust, as well as a private trust that is actually bonded. I got about 4 separate trusts. The vehicle is held in trust. That way, I travel, but the vehicle is held in trust. Or have you put a property? Wait a second. Or have you put the other property in a trust? Let me tell you something. That's a good point that you made, and I don't think a lot of people have ever brought that up. If people don't know what a trust is, I'm going to go over a trust document, um, and I'm going to do a screen share, and we're going to go over a trust, and just the basic principles of a trust and how to set one up. We're going to do that one next week. So instead of it being like a Q&A, I'm going to do a live presentation, and then we're going to do a Q&A after one. Gold McCord said, as an entity type with a trust, what type of trust is good for this real estate investment trust? Well, that's the remit. That's the remit, and how to put bonds on vehicles to travel properly. Well, the bond when you as it relates to traveling will basically be kind of like the hold harmless. But once the status is corrected, see, I'm gonna hip you to something. Everybody that is claiming that they traveling and things of that nature, they doing it backwards. First of all, you got to be a secured party creditor, because once they got that birth certificate back, that birth certificate is also considered a fidelity bond or a municipal bond. And once they got that back, they basically have it's a form of indemnification, that, as well as along with a hold harmless agreement. As long as it's on bonded paper, those bonds, they take about, some people say 30 days, but when I made the call to the Department of State, as well as the Department of Commerce, it's usually taking about 90 days right now. So we're going to go ahead and do that one next week, and I'm going to show people, the basic foundations and fundamental practices of developing and establishing a private trust. You could buy a vehicle with a bond because it's all insurance. It's all insurance. You're absolutely right, Wrong G. It's all insurance. But see, what people are failing to do is, see, everybody that was using the international bills of exchange, they were not paying the taxes associated with the bill itself. You can't create a debt instrument and not pay the taxes on it. So if the fact that people were not reporting those debt instruments as taxable securities, the IRS was coming back, for a lot of those people in 2007, 2008, 2009. So a lot of people got themselves in trouble because while they were reading the International Bills of Exchange Act, they didn't know how to they didn't have a fundamental comprehension as to the taxes that were involved with using international bills of exchange, as well as, i.e., promissory notes and stuff like that. You can't deposit a promissory note unless you are a secured party creditor. If you do, you're going to be into some serious shit, you know. And that's where a lot of people was, making a lot of big mistakes at. But keep the questions coming, questions or comments. It don't matter. I'm glad everybody is just here. Finally we got the live stream going a little bit and everybody can still hear me and stuff. So I hope so. So let's come with some more questions. Anybody got any credit questions? How has the debt validation video been working for everybody? I did a video covering that. Has that been working out for everybody? Have you guys been able to consolidate? What? I'm sorry, you can't handle the truth. What was your question? Go ahead and let me know what your question was again. Or in fact, let me scroll back up. What specifically are the steps to correct your status? The first thing that I think a lot of people are messing up at is that they don't have a trust register with the state. That's the first thing. Second thing, you're going to need a commercial security agreement. Third thing, you're going to need a hold harmless. Fourth thing you're going to need is 2 copies of the birth certificate. You're going to need a hold harmless. You're going to need the Form 56. You're going to need an active state. You're going to need a, what else? I feel like I'm missing something. The indemnity bonds that insures you, as well as the birth certificate, as well as proof that you have a trust registered. That's for starters. It's about, all told, it's about 9 to 10 documents, depending on, everybody has a different way of doing it, but I'm not trying to sound braggadocious, but I've never had anything rejected because I've done it correctly. How do you drive a car? You don't drive a car. Well, if you're a driver, then you drive a car. But if you are a traveler, then you're traveling in your private conveyance. Driving is a commercial offense, so you got to know the separation of terms and legalese that they use. Driving is a commercial offense under Title 49, and traveling is a private means of transportation. What are the steps to become secure? Oh, I answered that. Can a finance company sell a personal loan to another? Of course, they do that all the time. That's what they do all the time. They swap securities, and then after they create these securities, they just insure these securities. That's all they do. That's what's happening there. All of these people that get convicted, they sell debt collections and they put bonds on these debt collections with a maturity date to give indemnification to the purchaser. Why do you think the private prisons are the ones that's making all the damn money on the private side? If you're in debt over your head, shit, you file for bank. Nobody should ever be in bankruptcy, Mo. Nobody. You're not understanding what's going on. It's your credit. You can see you looking at it from like it's me. You because listening to your question, you said if you're in debt over your head, should you file for bankruptcy? No, the estate books need to simply be balanced. You don't owe anybody anything because if you owed anybody anything, it would have to be, i.e., gold or silver. And you would, it'd have to have been a transaction before 1933. So all of this public debt, because debt is the new money, debt instruments is the new money. It's exactly wrong, G. There's no money, so there's no bankruptcy. Nobody should be in any bankruptcy court. But they let people get away with this shit. That's really highway robbery right there, the whole bankruptcy scheme, because it's the United States. How can you have a creditor debtor situation and there's no money? Listen to that. Just let that sit in for a second. How can you have a creditor debtor situation and there's no money? If the United States put the people up as collateral via fraud, because all of that shit was still fraud. It was no type of full disclosure. Well, let me not say that, because they give disclosure, but it's not full disclosure. They give what I would like to call 70-30 disclosure. They'll tell 70%, but remember, no such thing, nothing worse than a lie than to have truth. So the fact that it's all really fraud is you looking at it from the wrong angle. You're not in debt. The estate books just need to be balanced, and there's a way in which you can do that. Um, Gold McCord said, "What is the price margin doing so to become a fully secure party creditor? The way you went through it." Shit, man. Truth be told, I plugged this shit last time. True Freeman 317 got a real dope ass secure party creditor webinar, and that's the only person that I vouch for in regards to helping people become secure party creditors. You can reach out to him, and I haven't talked to him in a while. It's been like maybe a month or so before since I last talked to him, but you can reach out to him. He did a real good webinar. It was an 8-hour presentation. It comes with all of the forms, the publications that you would need, everything. So you can reach out to him. I believe he was charging $500, which is a hell of a deal, and it's going to be done correctly. Hold on, I'll type it for you. That's True Freeman 317. Yeah, that's it right there. You can reach out to him and stuff like that, but he did a real good presentation on it. But I'm gonna tell you, you have to, before you try to do anything, you have to have a trust register with the state first. If you do not have a trust registered with the state, they're not going to acknowledge the commercial security agreement because the estate is already being held in trust via the DTC. So the fact of the matter remains that if you can put together a commercial security agreement, you can put together a UCC1 financing statement, you can put together all of these documents, but it will not be allowed to become registered as a secured party until you have a trust, which is why um, I was going to go over, elements of a trust and breaking down a trust and a live. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do like a live presentation next week, and then after I'm done with the presentation, we'll do a Q&A. But you have to have a registered trust, a living trust, preferably a revocable one at that, because there might be some modifications that you might want to make towards the trust. See, everybody is doing the irrevocable trust. That's why they always constantly have to go back and follow all those addendums to the UCC and everything. And each state is different when registering your. Exactly. This is why you want to look over. Remember last week when I talked about you want to download specifically the uniform trust code in your state. uh, Geopolis said, "Can you direct a credit agency like TransUnion Union to not use your social security number? Is that what 42 USC 408 Section 8 says in regards to no one or entity you can use. Exactly. Because the see, you give them consent though, and I'm gonna tell you how you give them consent. And this is why, you know, a lot of y'all getting y'all ass taxed, because when you give consent, if you, the minute you write the social security number on anything, and you are not reserving the rights associated with you, i.e., a living man or woman, you are not writing without prejudice. You can sign anything, you know, you can sign anything, but if you are not explicitly reserving your rights as stated in UCC 1-308, remember, all of this shit is commercial law. So the fact of the matter remains that you are the pencil man or the pencil woman for the Sesta Gateway Trust estate. So you have to explicitly reserve the rights associated with the trust. And the fact of the matter remains that if you are, you know, if you got a lot of these documents where your social security number is on there and they have the signature, you already gave them the money right there. That's a negotiable instrument, because not only do they got the signature, which creates the money, they got the actual account number. So it's like basically you pay them 3 times over, because they're gonna get paid off the signature, they're gonna get paid from uh the Social Security trust, as well as if they sell it as a security. So you didn't pay them really 3 times. So yeah, if you don't give them consent to use it, they're not supposed to use it. And there's no such thing as a credit agency. Oh yeah, you can't handle the truth. Yeah, I just bought the book, The Living Trust, to start learning about trust. Exactly. Because all of this, it still boils down to basically trust law. All of this boils down to trust law. Well, tax law, trust law, uniform commercial code, all three of those are interrelated. Those subjects, all three of those subjects is interrelated. Rome G said, I'm the authorized rep or signatory. Exactly. Correct. You are. You're the authorized rep. You can wear, it's multiple hats. And a lot of people, you know, you are the executor, i.e., executrix or executor. You are the administrator. You are the bailor. Probate terms, because remember, it's all dead. It's at sea. Uh, Credit reporting agency is what I meant. Yeah. Well, see, these you got to address these credit reporting agencies doing the debt validation as well. What you do is you consolidate them, and that's where I messed up in that video. A lot of people had some success with it, and a lot of people didn't. And the people that didn't have any success with it is because they didn't read the Fair Debt Collections Practice, as well as they don't read the Uniform Commercial Code, in particular 3-501, where it talks about the presentments. And they don't do enough reading. So they took the video and they looked at the PDF that I provided for the people, and they ran with it, which is fine because I get it. But if you're looking for a quick fix and a quick remedy without actually understanding how to put it through and how to enforce it and follow up if they don't respond using the administrative process, then hang on one second, you guys. Hang on. Charger. Shit. Okay, there we go. If you don't know how to actually enforce the letter, that's another thing I need to go over, man. People need to learn how to write a letter. You'd be surprised how many people I come across and they don't know how to write a letter. And they'll send me a copy or email of what they sent out, and it's a shitty letter. You're not scaring you wouldn't scare a goddamn postal clerk or nobody with the letter. It's a soft shoe letter that you guys are writing, and you don't know how to enforce it. They know that you just copy and paste whatever you see me draw up over the internet, or you it's just some shit that you basically plug in, highlight here, highlight there. You're supposed to edit the letters or the documents that I upload, and you're supposed to edit them to your liking, even if it means adding more to it or taking some things out of it as it pertains to your situation. You have to edit and customize these letters to your liking. You have to. Because like I said, they come across so much of this stuff all the time. And they know that you guys are not, you don't know how to do an administrative process. You don't know how to let them know that if you fuck around with my credit, or with my credit reports, that is, and you are not getting proper verification, i.e., an affidavit signed under penalty and perjury from the so alleged creditors, that you will be going after them as well, then they already know, like by default, they're not going to take you seriously. It says Geopolis said if a Fed loan does not charge off, they're still able to come after the person for collection or garnishment. And so, how do you stop a Fed loan? You got to do, once again, go into the UCC. All of this shit is applicable because it's all commercial. Every state is, I think, except Louisiana and Hawaii, and as well as Guam, is certain applicability factors that don't apply as it relates to the Uniform Commercial Code. But all in all, the Uniform Commercial Code applies to just about every state or so-called state in the union. So it doesn't matter who it is. You would use, 3-501 on them. Make them produce their claim to be able to, one, make the presentment. And nobody ever addresses the fact that they have to show proof of claim of their authority to make a presentment. A presentment means that they making a presentment to be paid. They want to get paid, but in doing so, they're supposed to present their authority as a holder in due course to even be able to make that claim. And if you don't make them validate that claim, then basically, man, it's so many remedies. You could do a notary protest, you can do the administrative process, you can do the debt validation, you can even also I don't think I want to put that one out. I'm gonna tell you something. Remember that line that Andy Robbins had in Shawshank Redemption when he said, "You'd be surprised what you can do with a letter and a stamp." It's some things you can also do through the post office that will really shut some shit down. I'm gonna tell you guys something. The post office, contrary to what you guys think, the post office is the biggest bank in the world. On the private side, and I'll just leave it as that. But the post office is the biggest bank in the world. Exactly, you can't handle the truth. A soft shoe letter. That's what people, You should see some of this shit that people be saying. It's like a bullshit attempt to make them validate a debt. They see that shit, and I guarantee you, they ball it up. If not, they shred it. It's directly to the shred house, because the reporting agencies have to. Now, I'm not making this up. If people actually read the Fair Debt Collections Practice Act, as well as the credit reporting agency guidelines, even by your state, they are supposed to make sure that they have received verification under 3-501. Rome G said, I got rid of my student loan that way. They supposed to have sold it back to the United States. Yeah, what they do with the is that main student loan center called Navient. They just had some big time shit going on with the United States. In fact, I think that they settled on the class action not too long ago because they were not putting up bonds to insure the purchasers for those student loan debts. They was basically selling them shits for 10 cents on a dollar just to get out of the alleged debt or lines of credits that they received from the United States. I forget actually which state it was where they actually lost in the class action, but I'm gonna remind me to pull that up. I will go into that a little bit next week as well, with the as well as the trust. We'll cover student loans as well as the trust and how to discharge that shit properly. Um, but the DTC, they go through the DTC as well to get a lot of those student loans. Alpha Majestic, what's up? I appreciate you for tuning in and breaking bread with me, and everybody, all 17 people. I appreciate it. Navient will just pop up under a new name. Well, they not popping up under a new name. They selling it. Well, you never know. It could be a subsidiary company that they might have, and they do that a lot too. They'll purchase some little bullshit office, and it'll be somebody sitting behind with a goddamn telephone and a laptop, and blowing up your phone, calling you, what I'm saying, all hours of the fucking night, even though they're not supposed to no more, and things of that nature. You guys remember, like, I don't know if you guys are old. I don't know my audience like that. I haven't looked at the analytics in a while, but you guys, for you guys is old enough. You guys remember uh before like caller ID came out, this back when everybody had a house phone, you know, uh so-called creditors would be calling people at 10, 11 o'clock at night and shit like that. And this was like the first caller ID. This is why caller ID was became so popular, because it was the first way in which a person could really see what number was actually calling their phone. So people would be like, no, don't pick that shit up. If they so-called owed somebody. So that's basically what was, happening back then. And when they redid the Fair Debt Collections Practice Act, they made it to where it's they can't call during certain hours, and it got to be within a certain time frame and things of that nature. Because that shit became borderline harassment. They used to harass people back in like the early to mid '90s. Exactly, back in the pager days. Yeah, dark side. Yeah, like I said, I don't know my demographic, but there's a lot of people that they probably not old enough to remember that you can't handle the truth. Say if they cannot validate your claim, it's fraud, and you can say exactly, exactly. And you can ask for summary judgment if you put together a administrative process as well as a notary protest. You when you put together a notary protest correctly as well as an administrative process. See, what I do is I incorporate both of them, so it's airtight. You're not. I'm not when I sue you. I'm not fucking around. So it's like when you're done, you're done. It ain't no fucking around. It's. Look, this is my process. This is all of the evidence is in the case log, and you're done. And it's like I said, it's usually some little bullshit office that then purchase some debts, and they sitting on their ass all day trying to get they alleging you owe them $200-300 in medical bills they didn't purchase from some little bullshit medical office, and they trying to collect $75. Basically, a way to keep their ass sitting on their ass and not have to go get a real line of work. Rome G said they would call acting like they know you're using the first name. They still do. Shit, I don't know. I haven't been in them days because I make that. I don't know. Shit, I would like to see like the harassment and stuff nowadays. I know that they send stuff out in the mail talking shit, but it's like pissing in the wind. You can't handle the truth. Said yes, I need to get rid of my student loans. Okay, we're gonna cover that as well next week. We'll be sure to cover that as well as the I'll call it the foundations of creating a trust. Well, that's what we'll call it, foundations of creating a trust. Irrevocable trust, or irrevocable or revocable. I prefer the revocable one. um it said yeah, their job is to harass other people, all of them. uh Yeah, that's what they do. Shit, they just, they don't care if you can. I mean, think about it. If you get 10 suckers that, what I'm saying, pay you $100, and they say, okay, well, we're gonna do, we're gonna wipe off the alleged debt from your credit report. You owe them 500. They say send us $100, and we're gonna close it. If you get, 10 motherfuckers a day, you can stay in business. You know, Justin Cole said, what was that code you called earlier about them using your SSN? Well, yeah, GeoPolis put it in there for you. As United States Code 42 408 Section 8. They're using your social security because you writing it down and you giving them consent and you haven't reserved the rights. It's two remedies in which you can use, right? And this is what I would do, right? Say for instance, hypothetically, if you do gotta write down your social security number, right? You write the brackets around it. So you put it in brackets so it's legally removed and it's legally not binding on the page, as well as underneath that you will write without prejudice UCC 1-308 and then sign without prejudice UCC 1-308. That's how I would do it personally. Um yeah, okay, yeah. You just can't handle the truth. Yeah, bring it all on, man. We'll go over all of that. But all of that. I mean, the saying is true. It's a sucker born every day. It's a sucker is born every day. Like I said, and a lot of these people, that's what they do for a living. They just basically purchase debt. They got a laptop, a couple of computers, 2 or 3 assistants. You know, they purchasing maybe $10,000-20,000 worth of debt, and even if they get back $12,000-13,000 of that debt, hell, they made out. And that's just basically what they go around doing. and people don't understand. The people don't read a lot of things that are applicable to these alleged creditors that are doing business. And people don't know how to write a letter, and people don't know how to find and research who registered agents are. So like when you go to like your Secretary of State's, or in Arizona it's called the Corporation Commission. Man, if anybody sent me a letter, all it takes is if I get the actual name of your company, you're done. Because not only will I find out within 5 minutes who the actual registered agent is, I'm gonna put his ass on I'm gonna put him on notice in the private as well as in the public for being you guys registered agent, and I'm gonna consolidate his ass as well. It's so many techniques, and it's a lot of stuff that you guys can do. See, that's what I mean when I say, when I put that video out as far as the debt validation, I knew that it would help a lot of people, but I wanted people to get creative with it. Like, okay, I can even use this video to address, or this letter to address this alleged company's registered agent and the private as well. Because if you're the registered agent, um, everything's going to fall back on you as it relates to the notices. So you've been noticed. And, if you don't respond to my notice within 30 days, I'm instantly hitting you with the administrative process: notice of fault, notice of default, notice of fault with notice of dishonor with opportunity to cure. And then by the time that notice of, you just in default, and I hold your ass in default, I'm asking for summary judgment. This is how you guys got to think. You got to learn how to think, if that make any sense. Yeah, like, when the last time you guys ever heard somebody say that? You got to think about thinking. You got to put together your own plan. So like what I'll do is, right, exactly, I conditional accept their answer. Exactly. Upon proof of claim. Show me your proof of claim that you are a holder in due course to any security interest or negotiable instrument as it relates to any of my securities that I've issued and created and pumped life into this dead based ass system. You know, so the people are the ones to blame essentially when all of this. You can't handle the truth. Said, I have one now that I didn't validate their claim. I'm about to bust their asses with my next response letter. Exactly. And so let me tell you guys, like, this is what I do. It's like whatever I want to research, right? I'll think about how I want to research it. So like I got some shit going on with the Secretary of State, right? And I'm about to hit Michelle Reagan with, not her literally, but I'm about to hit that office with something that they've never seen before. I'm not going to disclose that, but I've thought about how I'm going to hit them. So what I'll do is, like, I'll go into the revised statutes and I'll read everything that's applicable to that office. And for everything that they are doing that they're not supposed to be doing, it will be put in an affidavit format. And I know for a fact that I have evidence as to what they're doing and they're not supposed to be doing it. And so they can't rebut that affidavit. So what is the affidavit that is left unrebutted? It's truth in commerce. So then hence I'll take the Uniform Commercial Code. Remember, commerce, unrebutted affidavit is truth in commerce. So I'm using the commercial code in commerce to go back and club them upside the head with it. So you gotta formulate your own plan. Like when you get a piece of mail from an alleged creditor, look at everything that you got in your toolbox, and then you formulate your own plan on how you want to go about attacking this. See, like, it's like the old saying goes, like, Denzel said it best: this shit is chess, it's not checkers. So you gotta look at it like, okay, I got them on the board. At the end of the day, I'm coming for your queen as well as your king. But I'm willing to sacrifice everything and everybody before I get to them two. And that's how you got to think about doing it. Rome G said, always conditionally accept. Exactly. Always, because they cannot present their authority to even make the presentment. That's the key to it all right there. When you read 3-501 and you read 2-207, they cannot present their authority because they don't have authority, because they are not the creditors. Anybody and everybody that's dealing in the public is dealing in debt. So if we are going to play this so-called game of debtor, creditor, debtor, they don't have standing. They lack standing on all fronts. How can you claim to be a creditor and you operate in debt? You can't handle the truth, said the collection agencies that collect on medical bills are really violating HIPAA laws. Exactly, because they have information that is pertaining to. See, that's another angle. That's perfect that you said it. See, this is why I want to start doing this every Friday consistently, because you guys bring a lot of shit to the forefront as well, and it'll help a lot of people just be able to think better. Because it's like what you just said is so true. It's like, okay, they have, I don't care how it's worded, but when you read the HIPAA laws, it clearly states any medical information that is obtained without your consent is a violation. So let's say, for instance, if a person had to get certain tests done, you know, and they have in the invoice, test date, this, that, and the third, test date, this, that, and the third, and it's showing what actual test was conducted on the person, that is a violation of a HIPAA law. So you would then throw that into your validation, as well as your administrative process, as well as your notary protest. So you guys are the ones that's coming up with this shit, because like when we talk and we do these live streams, you guys are bringing a lot of things to the forefront, and you guys are asking questions, and that's what I like, because you see how like your comment just basically turn into, for anybody that's going to listen to this, they can go back and say, you know what, yeah, when I asked them to validate and provide verification that they are the true and correct creditor, they were in violation because they had access to my medical records. Rome G said, I did this all my so-called creditors and none of them ever validated. Just claim you are in dispute with the bureaus. I still have my car even for 2 years now. Yeah, because that car, man, I'm telling you, dude, you own to it, man. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that a lot of people are not doing. People don't understand the power of the 1099A. When I'm gonna tell you something right now, like, cause like what you just said too, you said you still got your car even for 2 years. You know that you can file, because I guarantee you that they haven't um sold the negotiable instrument, or i.e. security, for the credit application. I don't know whether or not you actually bought your car with FRNs outright, or if you used, a line of so-called credit, which was basically your social security. The application for the line of credit is deposited on the private side, but they can't actually sell those negotiable instruments because they have a taxable obligation. But if you haven't stepped forward within 2 years, it's funny that you mentioned 2 years, because usually that's how long they wait. They wait for about 2 years before they actually go ahead and file for the 1099A. Now, if you made them, or if you made the presentment to them, so now you put the ball back on them. If they haven't validated your disputes and you still have the you in possessionary title of the car, you can file the 1099 on the 1099A on the car itself. And a lot of people don't know that, and there's a way in which you can do that as well. You can't handle the truth, said ink and paper is deadly weapon. How do you think we got into the fraud system? Exactly. Geopolis said, I filed a dispute and the company kept reporting and adding interest. I think that was against the law, but I'm not sure. So you got to go back. Like, see, this is why, like, I'm having this conversation. You got to go back into, you have to go back and you got to read the Fair Debt Collections Act, as well as the credit reporting agency guidelines, with the Federal Trade Commission, which regulates all of this shit. You got to go into the Code of Federal Regulations. Go read the Go into the Code of Federal Regulations. Hold on 1 second. Let me find that for you real quick, because I want to make sure I give this correctly to you. 1 second, but keep the questions coming. Yeah, you have to. This is like, if you want to do this shit, you gotta actually do it. You can't rely on the whole. Listen to what you just said, Gio. I'm gonna read it back to you real quick before I find this. You said, I filed a dispute and the company kept reporting and adding interest. Well, You gotta now take it upon yourself as to say, well, why are they reporting it after I made them a presentment and they haven't responded to my presentment? So what is my counter move to the fact that they haven't responded? Because they can't lawfully respond and legally respond. Not I said it wrong because it's all legalese. It's not on the lawful side, but they can't legally respond because in legally responding, they will be perjuring themselves to someone. Nobody is going to put their asses on the line to get verification for these debts because that will require an affidavit signed under the penalties of perjury. And no one is going to do it because they know that those debts have already been prepaid, or whether they know them or not. But most of them know. So you said, and adding interest, I think that's against the law, but I'm not sure. So you have the obligation, because remember, it's your trust estate that they're raiding. So you have the obligation to go back in there and into the law, because as you said I think that was against the law, but I'm not sure. You have to become sure. Alpha Majestic, you said, bro, I emailed you a few questions. Get them when you have a moment, my guy. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. If you got a few questions, though, if it's not, too interpersonal, go ahead and ask them now. Rome G said it was my credit, but the dealer agent sold it to a third party within the lease. I signed and kept calling it a loan, but I knew better. Exactly. Exactly. Hang on one second. Let me find that. I know it's under the shit. It's foreign relations. Uh, keep coming with the questions though, you guys. Shit, where is that? 25 judicial money finance and trademarks shipping. That's 5049. Shit. Commerce and foreign trade. Yeah, here we go. Shit. Exactly. Geopolis. Got you. My next move will be a notary letter sent. So I have a legal record. Yeah, an administrative process is basically a record of records to that you are administering over that have presentments associated with them pursuant to the Uniform Commercial Code that have yet to be responded to. Everything that these motherfuckers are doing to the people, you're supposed to just flip the script and do it right back to them. You can even, a lot of people don't even know you can turn right back around and fucking bill them. In the debt validation letter, I even wrote that. How many people do you guys think went back and said, okay, well, if they don't respond, then I'm gonna start fucking billing them? You can bill them, send them an invoice, send them a bill, send them a bill and make them pay the bill. You guys got so much power, but you're not using it because, to each his own. Like I said, everything that these motherfuckers try to do to me, I do it right back to them. But, you gotta word it in a way in which, they know that you're not fucking around with them, because they'll call your bluff a lot of times. They will call your bluff a lot of time, and people go into fucking panic mode. Like just earlier, I think Maurice was asking about the IRS and all that shit. I made the IRS pay taxes. You make the IRS pay taxes. They just handle in the bookkeeping. I've never been a tax protester because, like I said, once you truly know what's going on, really, I wouldn't call them a friend, but if you got any so-called allies in this shit, it is the IRS. Because people don't understand what's going on. You got to report all of these securities, all of these obligations, promissory notes, all of this shit. Any evidence of indebtedness, I believe that's 1275 of Title 26, needs to be reported. Right. Let's say 1024, send them an invoice. Yeah, exactly. You'd never be a tax protester, never. Never. You never because you just the pencil man for the estate. They just need you to be able to turn the shit back into payables. So they can then charge and send a tax bill to the motherfuckers who went into it and sending you the tax bill. They basically want you to pay the taxes for them taking money out of the trust account. That's basically what they want you to do. It's all that they want you to do. I'm trying to find that. My damn Cornell won't load up for some strange reason now that I'm doing the live stream, It's like they like playing games with my computer whenever they do that type of shit. Just bear with me. Shit. Uh, God damn. What the hell? Foreign trade agreements, telephonic communications. But anybody got any more questions? Remember, next week I'm gonna go over the fundamental elements of a revocable and irrevocable trust, as well as how to properly put one together, as well as we're gonna cover the debt validation and verification a little bit more in depth, and then afterwards we can do a Q&A. Did anybody see the Rome G said? Did everybody see that UCC once saying that IRS had a lien on all property in the United States of America? Yeah, because everything that I mean, shit, the federal overlay, where the zip codes for one creates a federal overlay to all of the property in the United States anyway by default, right there. And then secondly, see, this is why people. That's why I was kind of alluding to the power of the post office and the private. um, Basically, get you a PO box. Get you a PO box. If you guys don't have a PO box, make sure that you get you a PO box. It's a lot of things that you can do with the PO box. Maurice is gonna be the same time. Really, I started at originally I started at 6 o'clock. I can push it back if you guys want me to. You guys just need to let me know. What I'll do is I'll send out promotional cards to most of my subscribers. I don't think a lot of people hit the notification button, so they just usually catch my videos whenever I upload them or whatever in due time. But I can push it back a couple of hours if you guys want me to, or whatever the case may be, so we can go ahead and get the live stream going, and everybody can, ask their questions and be able to watch it. Uh, I'm still learning. Yeah, you can't handle the truth. We all are. Nobody knows all of this. Geopolitics said your employer also has this employee tax. They tax. That's why they have you fill out the W-4 form and wants our Social Security, but legally you don't have to give them your Social Security. Exactly. Nobody never covers that. Nobody never talks about that shit. You don't have to give them your Social Security number. None of that. But what it is that they uh they get a tax credit. They are able to use the W-4s and as well as W-3s as tax credit. See, this is why you ever notice, like, with mostly big companies, they don't mind paying a goddamn tax attorney or they counsel more than a CEO, because it's a lot of things that, don't get me wrong, I talk a lot of shit about them bloodsuckers, you know what I mean? But it's a lot that you can learn, and it's a lot that you can do with a good tax attorney, because they receive tax credits for all of the employees, W-3s as well as W-4s. And a lot of people don't know that. But this is how they finance a lot of their projects and stuff like that. So, like, if a company ever claims that they're broke, that just means that they had, some bullshit lawyer who even ripped them off, because they don't understand tax law. Post office tour able to hold court by mail. Uh, PO boxes have zip codes too. PO box, the actual station has zip codes. The box itself, if you write the actual zip code in brackets, reverts back to the republic. That's where the republic lives at. Um, Rome G said, "Yup, all corpse make us liable by getting her SSN. Have you heard about the change of address to become president of the estate? If so, what's your take on it?" I heard about that shit, and it coincides with what David Clarence was trying to do with the executor letter. Like, all of this stuff that everybody wants to do, like, all you have to do really is read the Uniform Commercial Code. And if you read the Uniform Commercial Code, in particular Article 3 Article 8, as well as Article 9, which covers secure transactions. Um, as well as I recommend everybody reading the general provisions as well. Nobody reads the general provisions, and that tells you uh all of the transactions, whether it be negotiable instruments, letters of credit, and things of that nature. It gives you the whole general meal in regards to what's applicable. See, like you have to read the provisions because that's going to tell you, okay, what applies to what. Um, Geopolis said, "Post office is powerful for us. It's powerful for us. We can have court through the mail. Wait to learn to blow that'll blow your mind at how powerful we really are." Exactly. This is why they really don't. I'm gonna tell you guys something too. When you get the post office box, get a passport first, and then when you sign for the post office box, use the passport, not the state identification card. Have them put the passport on file. When they put the passport card on file, yo, uh, the general post, he usually that person knows what's actually going on, and that's actually gonna them like, okay, somebody kind of knows what's really going on behind the scenes as it relates to money orders and things of that nature. Is there a way to get in touch with you? Yeah, shoot me a email. Hold on, let me put my email address in the comment section. And you can also always get at me on Google Hangouts as well and stuff like that. Occasionally, if I don't answer it, it's because usually I don't have my phone or I'm like studying or something like that. But I'm always open for somebody reaching out as long as you ain't on no bullshit. As long as you ain't trying to how could I put it? Um, as long as you really ain't on no bullshit. I know the thing about me is I know bullshit when I hear it. It take me 2 seconds to peep bullshit. So if you give off a bullshit vibe, I really won't fuck with you. But if you are interested in learning and we can do some things, I'm also planning on still putting together a private group, and we're gonna have homework topics, and we're gonna go over a lot of things. So it's like, okay, well, we'll agree to meet for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours max on say like Sunday or whatever day works for like I said, the group of 5 to 10 people, and we'll all have a homework assignment, and we'll have to basically put together not necessarily a research report, but we would have to be able to elaborate and explain what certain laws mean, what certain codes, regulations, things of that nature mean. So if you guys are still interested in doing that, we can always come together and do that as well. Yeah, Geopolis, yeah, of course. We'll put it together. I'm gonna put it together. I uh I just ordered a whole new set of the uniform commercial codes, the eighth editions. So I'm waiting on those to come back, and as soon as those come back, I'm going to scan everything again to my Dropbox, and I'm going to put together the group. And when I put together the group, everybody will be able to have access to the Dropbox, and we can go from there. Who Justin Cole, who woke that sleeping giant within DC? Well, people contracted into it. Our parents did, really, basically out of ignorance, because they abandoned us and they basically signed us over to the district. That's a 10-mile square parcel on chartered. It was originally under the Judiciary Act of 1789. If you read that act, it'll tell you that the district and the Residency Act is settled on charitable land. The guy who founded Georgetown University was a Jesuit, and he donated the land to the United States. He loved, or I said love. He owned the land there and donated it. And he was a Jesuit. But yeah, Alpha Majestic. Everybody is interested, shoot me an email and let me know that you guys will be interested in the private group. And we're going to do private streams as well, and we're going to really start breaking down. See, in the private, we can go over the IRS publications, we can go over tax law, we can go over the Uniform Commercial Code and debt, we can break down people's letters, things of that nature. Geopolis, I just ordered a set of DVD, Become an Executor of Yourself by Harry Baldwin. Look him up, and he's got that right on. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of his work. A lot of his work. Him as well as Phil Lilly. Phil Lilly did something similar like that as well. Yeah, most definitely you can't handle the truth. Oh yeah. You know. Because you gotta you're on to it. We all just have to really, what all of this boils down to is strategic planning. We got to be able to take their laws, right? And we got to be able to apply them to them. So, like, this is where a lot of people was messing up. Like, once the whole redemption movement and shit like that started taking off back in, like, um, once the second half, like, after the Jordan Maxwell's, the William Bill Coopers, people like that had, well, Jordan Maxwell is still around, but once William Cooper and people like that had got killed and passed on, or a lot of people had got locked up from being tax protesters, that was a part of the so-called original sovereign citizen, which was a whole little bullshit term that they came up with to basically try to discredit people who wanted and found redemption. And once a lot of those people had got locked away, if you guys have ever studied this sector of YouTube, you guys will know that it kind of went back underground for a little while. And once it went underground for a little while, a lot of people had went back to the drawing board and was able to see where a lot of those, people that had came before us messed up at. And I think where a lot of them messed up at is that they they did the research, but they didn't know how to correctly apply the research. So, you know, in doing so, we are able to learn from their mistakes. Like I said, they did the research, but they didn't know how to apply the research. They were a little bit too radical. Exactly. Alpha Majestic. It's an oxymoron. Citizen is one who owes an allegiance, and then you can't be sovereign because the sovereign is king within oneself. So, you owe an allegiance. You a king, but you owe an allegiance. No, that doesn't make any sense. So you're absolutely right. It's an oxymoron. But long story short, um, you know, uh, we can go back and we can learn a lot from a lot of the people that came before us, and we could just take it to another level. Yeah, I think the biggest problem with law is that a lot of it is written in the negative. With laws, a lot of it is well, people's interpretation of it. So, like when you research something, this is what I'll do. When I'm researching something, I'll use three different dictionaries. I'll use the etymology dictionary online, and I'll whip out a Bouvier's as well as a Black's Law, and I try to stay fifth on the way on back. Like when I'm referring to Black's Law, like I'll go from fifth edition on back to the first edition. And the reason why I do that is because a lot of the legalese has started to change. They like start playing games with a lot of the legalese because what the definition of the term person might have been 20 years ago. See, they changed it, and that's another angle that they use to try to combat what we're doing. Same thing what they did where your reservation within your rights was 1-207. So now they took it out and they made people search for it, and then they moved it to 1-308. And see, that's coming again because they'll rewrite the Uniform Commercial Code every 15 years or so, and I think it's been about 11 years. I want to say it was '07 the last time that they did do it. Where they rewrote it, but They'll play some games like that to continue to try to throw us off. This is why it's always important for you guys to cross-reference your research with your state. So, like when you go into uh your state's revised statutes or codes, you will see that your state itself is, has a section or a title that's specifically reserved to the Uniform Commercial Code. Exactly. You can't handle the truth. Yeah. But that's what a lot of these trolls over the internet, because our sector get a lot of haters too, it get a lot of, these the sheeple and brainwash people that think that, you know, somehow, some way that the government gives a shit, cares about them, and oh no, our government would never lie to us. They love us and things of that nature and stuff like that. Government only care about, keeping your ass dumbed down so they can continue to make trillions, literally trillions of so-called dollars off of the people. But it's all enslavement because you bonded, and you basically, it's not, the game is not meant for you to be able to get ahead in anything that you do, anything that you do. But you got to be persistent, and consistent in, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you're absolutely right. Can't be a sovereign and a citizen. You are sovereign. You have birthrights. You have rights that you can't lean up against, or they can't lean up against. You have a lot of power that you're not using. So somebody come with some more questions. Oh, here, I'll type it in. I actually just ordered some stuff off of there as well. Hold on. I actually spoke on the phone with the owner. That's the website, the American Book Warehouse. If you go on there, you can get the Uniform Commercial Code for $17. It usually retails for about $194. You can get you can't get the annotated editions for most state statutes because uh they're still in the thousands, and Westlaw has exclusive publishing rights to a lot of the state statutes. Because remember, all statutes are not laws, and they're all copyrighted. They're all copywritten. But yeah, that's usually where I order a lot of my legal books, as far as the dictionaries, publications, stuff like that. All of the IRS stuff you can download it for free off the internet, or if you want like an actual paperback copy, you just order them from the IRS. Go to the IRS website. Anybody got any more questions, y'all? I'm gonna try to wrap it up in about maybe say 10 more minutes or something. I know that I had to come back on and I started a little late because they was playing some games with the stream earlier, but go ahead and ask some more questions and I'll try to answer them. I'll drop my email address as well so you guys can go ahead and shoot me an email if interested in joining the research group that I'm gonna start. But yeah, somebody drop some more questions, or that we pretty much touch on a lot of the stuff that you guys wanted to cover tonight. By the way, I want to thank all 15 people that's watching now. It's Friday night, and you guys, like I said, can be doing anything, but you guys are here with me, and ask some questions. And yes, my aunt gives it to me. Yes, she gives it to me. Um, she been kind of getting like a little bit of pushback from a few of her partners and stuff like that because they don't like the shit that I'm doing. Because remember, I'm in a way, this is how they eat. This is how they make money. Ridiculous $6,000 retainer fees, and you know, I'm telling you, man, it's really a racket. I don't want to put all her business out there, but uh, I don't think she's not even fucking with you unless you got at least 7 grand. So I got access to the American jurisprudence. Um, I'm going to scan in a lot of that stuff as well in the private group that I'm gonna put together, and I'm gonna put it in a Dropbox format so you can take a look at it and you can read a lot of that. At Rome G in particular, with you might want to go ahead and go look into the restatement cases, restatements of the laws, like okay, restatements of trust, restatements of bankruptcies, restatements of contracts. Look into a lot of the restatements because it's a lot of case law. And what I'll do is this is how I'll set it up. Once we get the group set up and everything like that, since I have access to her Westlaw account, whatever cases you guys want to pull, I'll pull them, scan them, and then we'll put them in the Dropbox and we'll go ahead and review them together like that. A case in its entirety, because the little bullshit websites like justia.com, stuff like that, they not giving you guys the full scope and the full briefs of these cases, how Westlaw breaks it down. Westlaw breaks it down. Oh, Fam Guardian does a very good job. Very good. Plug that website again, Geopolis. Put it in the comment section and plug them all the way, because Fam Guardian does a very good job in regards to breaking down a lot of this shit. Them as well as Anti-Corruption Society. Um, yeah, wealth and health. Sorry about that. You can go back and listen to the live stream. They was playing some games with my live stream earlier. I was asking people if they could hear me, and some people said yes, and it was like but they really couldn't hear me because I was wondering why it would be like one person in the chat, then it'd be two people, then it hit one person. It was jumping back and forth, and I think it was their way of playing games with the audio feed. Uh, Google Scholar, that's what I use. I never heard of Google Scholar, but hit me. I'll hit. What is Google Scholar? But yeah, I'll have access to her Westlaw account and everything like that. But um, like I said, whatever case you guys want to review, I'll get it, pull it, and then I'll put it in a PDF format. See, I got the Adobe Pro, so when I pull it, it instantly converts all of the web pages into a PDF format. So you guys will actually be able to read the case brief in its entirety. Oh, okay. You can find cases on Google Scholar. Okay, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Geopolis said, "Knowledge is power. Let's stick together and help each other with issues. Together, we are stronger." Exactly. Google is not allowing to go to some website, so I use DuckDuckGo. All right. So yeah, I'm learning stuff from you guys tonight as well. So I'll take 2 more questions, then I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody go. You guys got a couple more questions? Make them some good questions. Okay, Alpha Majestic, my boy's a paralegal and he put me on to it. Is it okay? Google Scholar is what you're referring to. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I have to check it out. So yeah, let me take 2 more questions. Or if anybody, got any more questions, then I'll go ahead and answer them. But I would like, a couple more questions. And then I know everybody got things that they want to do. It's Friday night, so we'll call it a night. I want to thank everybody once again for tuning in as well. What bank should you use to open up a trust account? What bank do you frequent the most? I mean, remember, you can open up an account anywhere. I actually would prefer to use Fidelity. Well, yeah, let me just answer your question directly. I use Fidelity. That's why I have a lot of shit registered with. Fidelity. They have a lot of good interest rates, as well as you can charge back a lot of things on your Schedule C once you do your taxes and stuff. Uh, do we need to do an affidavit of life in a file for that record, public record? Well, you could put it in the county recorder's office. Put it in the miscellaneous files. because they'll tell you usually if it's not a property or if it's not an affidavit pertaining to a court case or something like that, or if it's not in the public domain, they might try to give you some shit. But if you put it in a miscellaneous, they can't, they can't bother you at all. I think everybody in the chat, like I said, you guys could be doing anything right now, but you guys, tuning in, rocking out with me. I thank you guys. I learned a lot from you guys tonight, and I got to go look into Google Scholar as well as DuckDuckGo. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you guys as well. I didn't even know that those type of things that I touch on a register agent. Yeah, if you okay, handle the truth, react yours real quick. And then, but let me answer health and wealth first, and then retype your question in, and then that'll be the last question. Now, you guys remember next week we're gonna go over, and you guys don't let me forget. Like somebody shoot me an email throughout the week and say, okay, next Friday you said that you're gonna cover the foundation of creating a revocable and irrevocable trust, as well as we're gonna go over the debt validation a little bit more in depth. Uh, did you touch on register agents? Dre, exactly what exactly should you tell the clerk if you want to make something in public record? Or you just tell them you okay. Let me ask you yours real quick, Alpha. You say go into your state's statutes, right? And then you find everything as it relates to the county recorder. And then you do a compare and contrast to the statutes and what it is that they can do and what it is that they can't do. If it simply states that they are to take and record recordable instruments, and then it'll give you the format in which it has to be placed in order for them to record it. Now, them asking you why are you recording it, it ain't none of their fucking business. And that's the thing that I'm finding that a lot of people run into. It's like you don't allow this is why you go into their office with the law or statutes in hand. That way they don't have a rebuttal because they have a duty to perform their duties and discharge their duties. They have an obligation to perform and discharge their duties as it relates to them having their job there. So you don't get into a back and forth with them. You say, okay, this is the law. It's in the format in which it's supposed to be. So in order for it to be recorded, record my documents so I can be on the, about my business and out of here. You can't handle the truth. Ask your question again. I didn't get it. And let me answer. Health and wealth though. Retype your question. You can't handle the truth. But wealth and health. I touched on registered agents. I touched on them, and I told most people where you can find out who whatever company it is that you want to go after, where their registered agent usually has a notice that is in the corporation commission for your state. So you would go to your state's corporation commission and then type in the name of the company, and then usually the registered agent for that company will pop right up. Right, exactly. Alpha Majestic. Yeah. He said, exactly. As public servants, it's their job to file my ish. Thanks for the intel. Exactly. Yeah. That's how you do it. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Cool. Well, that's gonna be it, everybody. Sorry for the delay. If you guys would like, I'm gonna keep this one up as well, so you guys can go back and listen to the playback. I want to thank everybody once again for tuning in to DreChilly tonight and the Q&A. Next week, we're going to cover the trust as well as the debt validation a little bit more in detail, as well as we're going to get into the Uniform Commercial Code. I'm going to be doing a screen share as well, so everybody make sure that you tune in. Oh, yeah, if you haven't clicked the notification button on my channel, I suggest you guys go back into the playback as well as my channel, and you click the little bell, because when you click the little bell, it will let you guys know when I go live. I'm going to go live at 6 p.m. Friday night Mountain Time, and we're gonna do it for 2 hours. It's gonna be another 2 hour live stream. Well, really an hour for you guys to answer questions, but the first hour is going to be, the presentation that I'm going to put on with you guys, and then we're going to do Q&A afterwards. Um, and we're going to leave it as that. Exactly. No disrespect. It's easy to say it's their job to record your documents, but they still don't record. But that's why I said that's why you go in with the so-called law stating that as long as it's in the format in which it's supposed to be in, they don't have an argument. You can't argue with, the facts. If they want to fuck around and play some games, then go to the goddamn county clerk's office and go get the county recorder's bond. You want to play some games? I'm helping somebody with that shit right now. Currently, what's going on? She's having a bit of an issue with that right now. But thank you everybody to once again for tuning in, and we're going to get together next week. And everybody have a good week, and that'll be it for me. So like I said, somebody remind me in an email, that I'm going to cover the trust as well as uniform commercial code and debt validation. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm going to end this by saying power to the people, and only in the people we will trust. This is DreChilly signing out, everybody. Have a good weekend. No drinking and driving. Have fun. Peace.